All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back for another week of Just a Fan Podcast. I am your quarter host, the Wildcat quarterback that runs this whole thing. Uh, court, the NFL Encyclopedia. I'm in draft mode. Coach Williams, that direction, panel 316, the defensive mind that runs this whole thing. Tell them what your thing says, man.
We're exposing the hypocrisy of NFL fandom.
That's right. That's what we're doing.
I'm gonna do a quick spiel about that in a second, because for those of y'all who follow us on TikTok, I already did an introductory video about that. But some of y'all need to hear this. It's not gonna be pleasant for some people. For some of it, it don't apply. If it don't apply, let it fly. But some people, I need to go ahead and get y'all together.
Right. All right. And when we do talk about it, we're only gonna spend maybe 2 minutes on it. All right. Man, what a crazy divisional round. Some teams, of course, are moving forward to the Final Four, to these conference championship games. Others, well, they overachieved, and you got to give them credit for them making it. And actually, two of those teams overachieved, and unfortunately for them, their journey stopped on Saturday. And we can start with the Houston Texans as they lost to the Baltimore Ravens 34-10. Man, what do you think about that game, man? I mean,
well, I said the curtain had to come down eventually on the Houston Texans. But I want to make sure that I'm clear when I say this, that they have nothing to hang their heads about. This game was kind of what we all expected. I think I'm sorry, except for you, Brandon. We all picked Baltimore to win that game. But basically, it was less about the Baltimore Ravens, because we kind of knew they were going to win that game. And it was more about Houston, playing with house money, if you really want to put it plainly. They weren't supposed to be there.
Exactly.
For all intents and purposes, they were not supposed to be there. At the beginning of the season, before the first kickoff of the season, if you would have said, again, time travel comes back to the past and says, hey, Houston's going to be playing for a chance to go to the AFC Championship in the divisional round against the Baltimore Ravens, we would have called you crazy.
Exactly.
We'd say, hey, if Houston finishes second in their division, maybe gets bounced. Maybe they finish second in the division and don't get one of the wild cards, but they still finish second in the division. That was kind of more of a realistic, outlook for them. Well, they said, screw that. We're not going to get second in the division. We're going to win the division outright. That was one thing. Then they said, okay, so you won a division, you're going to get to host a playoff game. Okay, so host a playoff game. They probably won't win. No. We're going to host a playoff game, and we're going to win that playoff game. Number two. Oh, well, they probably win by a field goal. So no. We're going to play one of the best defenses in the NFL, and we're going to blow them out. We're going to put 30-some points on them, and our defense is going to get 14. That's when the wow factor happens. This is when you're playing way, way, way over your heads, at this point. And it's like, okay, cool. Then up come the Baltimore Ravens, who is arguably the best team in the NFL, if not definitely the best team in the AFC. we kind of saw what was going to happen. We were just trying to see how long could Houston stay in there and punch with them. That's basically what it was. And, they didn't win that game. Baltimore dominated as we expected them to. But again, like there should be I didn't really watch the post game or anything like that, but there should be no players for Houston, no coaches for Houston that had their heads hanging after their games. Like, hey man, we went out there, we weren't supposed to be here. There are a lot of teams that a lot of prognosticators, talking heads, and analysts all over sports media. None of them had us here, but we were here. We were here, and the future is bright. The future is very bright. I had a poll up on the Facebook page saying several teams who has the brightest future moving forward. And out of all the teams that lost in the playoffs, and like I believe it ended with like the Texans. A lot of people voted the Texans, and you're absolutely correct. You got a young, talented quarterback who played incredible his first year out the gate playing professional football. You have a young first-year play calling Bobby Slowick, who did a fantastic job, never called plays before. You have a first-time head coach who's doing amazing things with what he was given. Because let's be honest, I said it last week, Houston hadn't reached their final form yet.
That's so true.
And they have a lot of cap space. They got draft picks. They can actually go and add to this talented young team that they have and be a serious, significant threat. They just entered the chat. I always say such and such has entered the chat. Houston has entered the chat at this point. They need to be taken seriously. If you don't take them seriously, man, I'm feel sorry for you. So you're gonna be looking at Baltimore, Buffalo, the Bengals when Joe Burrow's healthy.
Listen.
And now you got to throw Houston in there as one of those big dog teams in the AFC.
Listen,
Kansas City, all those guys.
Listen, you took the word. You basically taking the words out of my mouth. Where I was just going to ask you, because I was going to ask you. I was like, which conference have we been saying is the most loaded conference?
Oh, it's absolutely is.
It's the AFC. Before the season started and everyone was healthy. You had, like you said, you had Buffalo, you had Miami, you had the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers, you had Baltimore. Now you get Cincinnati back with Joe Burrow being healthy. You get Cleveland back with Deshaun Watson being healthy, Nick Chubb being healthy, and 3 of the offensive tackles. Their defense overachieved because no one saw that defense coming in Cleveland. Let's be real, okay? Yeah, it got exposed by Houston. Okay, fine, but no one saw that coming.
You got to realize the Cleveland Browns beat the 49ers and Baltimore once.
See? And then
that's a feather in your cap if you can do that to those guys in a playoff situation.
Right. And then the AFC West, you have Kansas City, who's back in the conference championship again. And we'll see what Denver looks like with Sean Payton in year 2, as he's still, getting his roster together. The Raiders now, we don't know what that's going to look like for Antonio Pierce. I mean, they look bad those last 9 games he was coaching, especially beating Kansas City, and forcing 2 turnovers, both returned for a touchdown. And the Chargers has Jim Harbaugh 95% signed, and we know what Jim Harbaugh looked like in the NFL. We know what that looks like. So AFC is loaded. And I even mentioned Jacksonville, who had a good record this year. Indianapolis had a good record. So we got to see there's only 7 teams that can get in. There's only 7 teams in the AFC that can get in. The question is going to be who and why. And it's going to make a very good that's why I love off-season football, because it's very interesting. It's going to make for another good season coming up.
Yeah, and just to give you guys kind of some foreshadowing, the audience that are watching at home on your phones or listening on the various mediums, as you know, when we go into the off season, we don't quit. There is no off season for Just a Fan podcast. We'll be covering things like the prospects in the Senior Bowl, East West Shrine Game, the NFL Draft as it comes up, the free agent period, all of those things like that. So we don't just cover the NFL while the NFL is going on. There's no off season for Just a Fan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but the Houston, they exceeded expectations. You know, I know there are a bunch of people that's like, oh, you know, Houston is that and the third, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Like, okay, but they are here. A lot of people that's talking negatively about Houston are folks that have teams that weren't there. You know, we probably won't.
No, probably
There's so much going on in the NFL that we won't really have time to cover the UFL a whole lot.
Yeah, well, and also we always got something to talk about regarding the NFL.
Yeah, the casual fan thinks the NFL season ends after the Super Bowl, but like the purist like us who are really really into all the intricacies of the NFL, we follow year round because there's something always going
on. You may and I mean that's the crazy thing about it. You may not think, and I know we get off topic and we're gonna move over to the next game. You may not think that the off season is interesting. Trust me, something big is going to happen. And the one thing I've learned in the NFL is all it takes is one. All it takes is one. When you don't think somebody should be signed by an NFL team, all it takes is one. Somebody unexpected is going to get cut. Somebody unexpected is going to get traded. Somebody unexpected is going to get signed. It happens all the time. And then you be like, okay, we got to cover this.
Yeah. So we keep it going.
Yes.
Like I said, the casual fan is like, oh, well, the Super Bowl been played. Ain't no more NFL.
Man.
Yeah.
Listen, offseason keep me on the edge of my seat.
And then, you know, those casual fans, they pop back up like right around preseason. Like, wait, when he wound up over there? Wait, how did he get there?
Yep.
Who is this kid from such and such state that got drafted by such and such team? And we're like, well, we've been telling you about it.
We've been telling you. You just got to watch us.
We do a whole segment where we're scouting players coming out of college. You know, we're gonna cover all of that. So, yeah. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell on YouTube because you ain't no telling. And definitely follow us on TikTok because we definitely do stuff throughout the week during that time as well.
Yes, we do.
All right, let's move on.
Somebody else who overachieved, and they really overachieved. I mean, I don't know if anybody had this team as a playoff contender for real. The 49ers defended their home turf against the Green Bay Packers, winning 24-21. Now, I know I see you pull your book out. So the question is, where did we have Green Bay ranked?
I had Green Bay ranked the highest out of the four of us.
What?
Yes.
Okay. No, you said ranked the highest. So when you say ranked the highest, like where?
I had them third in that division. Now we all picked the Lions to win the division, and we were all correct.
So you had them third, and then the rest of us have them fourth.
Dead last. You, Steve, and Tristan had the Green Bay Packers dead last in that division.
So I want everybody to hear that. I want everybody to hear this again. Eric chose Green Bay to be in third place in their division.
Mm-hmm.
And me, Steve, and Tristan chose Green Bay to be dead last in their division. And I'm okay, we're wrong. That's fine. We're not perfect or anything. But that tells you about how much Green Bay overachieved. Like, at least I think with Houston, I think we might have had them maybe in second.
We all had them second. We all had Houston second.
So we had Houston in second place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they overachieved still, but Green Bay's overachievement is completely different.
And we go back and look at all those films, go back and look at our previous shows where we talked about and we did these picks. Basically, we all, I think, were talking about it all hinges on one thing. What is 10 going to do? What is Jordan Love? What is he going to do? And he stepped up to the plate. He proved that he is their quarterback of the future.
Yes.
He's shown that. I
Yes.
don't think there's any debate about that at this point. Even he had a really bad game against San Francisco, with two picks. And but to get there,
Yes.
that's the thing. To get there. Now
Says a lot.
he had an outstanding game against the Dallas Cowboys. He had a kind of below average game against the Niners, which kind of cost him the game. Because I'm finna get on that game in a minute. I'm gonna get to the other side of that, the other sideline. I'm finna go off about that. But the Green Bay Packers were playing above their heads. They ran into the 49ers, who played an awful game until the fourth quarter. 3 quarters of pure horse manure. And with as bad as they played, San Francisco was just clearly the better team because they were able to come back and win that game. But truthfully, that game should have been a blowout.
Let me ask you a quick question. I want to ask you I want you to continue, but I want to ask you a question before you get on to San Francisco. So let me know when you're ready.
I got some cornmeal, some lemon pepper, and some hot grease.
Okay, well,
for y'all, coach, y'all know I'm finna go off on.
Okay, so are you ready to talk about San Francisco, or are you still going on Green Bay?
No, lastly, just to finish up talking about Green Bay, they're in the same boat as the Houston Texans. It's going to be a dogfight for years to come within that division for those top 2 spots between the Lions and Green Bay. And just like Houston and probably Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville, this was a one-off. I think Jacksonville will be back strong next year. So I'm really not – I feel like AR-15, Anthony Richardson, I feel like he's got some developing to do.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud has shown us he's ready. CJ Stroud has shown us he's ready.
Definitely.
Trevor Lawrence is considered a top 10 quarterback, and both of them got good defenses. So we're going to see this back and forth between Houston and Jacksonville, and then we're going to see this back and forth between Green Bay and the Lions.
Definitely.
For the coming years. I think that's what's going to happen. So yeah, it's and I think honestly Green Bay is probably set up better for the future than well, no, let me back off of that. They both equally match when it comes to youth on their teams. So yeah.
Let me ask you a question about Jordan Love.
Okay.
Sorry. Jordan Love is up for extension because of what happened in early part of his career. They did not pick up the 5th-year option per se. They kind of structured it a certain way.
They better pick it up.
No, hold on. Because I think, let me see something. I think when it comes to Jordan Love, he's past the opportunity. See, what they did was they didn't pick up the 5th-year contract, but they gave him the extension on the 5th year. So let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. Okay. So he technically this could be his last year, but it's like it has like some voidable years on it, 25 through 20, 25, 26, 27. And yeah, okay. So I think Green Bay is going to try to extend him now this offseason.
It makes the most sense. He's proven it. He's earned it. He deserves it.
But my question is, because of what happened, because I may have to still factor into the contract, how much are you going to pay Jordan Love per year? Are you going to pay him in a $20 million range, $30 million range, $40 million range, $50 million range? How much is Jordan Love worth after everything that happens? I know what happened this season. They completely overachieved, and I get it.
I hear what you're saying. I
get it. But those previous years, you got to tag that into it. So how much is Jordan Love worth per year? Is it 35, 45, 55, what?
That's going to be interesting because do I think he should get paid top dollar? No.
I agree. See, yeah.
But should he be compensated adequately to where he's, he's up there? Yeah. I think he deserves it. I think he's done enough to show that he deserves to get paid like a star.
Oh, and I agree. He definitely deserves more money. Like I said, I just wonder like, man, how much you gonna pay this guy now per year, because the going rate is like 50 something $1 million.
I think a $40 million deal is fair. Somewhere up in there.
Hey, could you imagine getting Jordan Love for $40 million a year? Because that's low. I'm not saying they're low balling him, but that's low for the going rate for starting quarterbacks, and you can build a team around him because you have a whole lot more cap space because you're paying him 15 to 20 because some more quarterbacks are going to get paid this offseason. I don't know who's up this year, but you're going to be paying him 15 to $18 million less than what the going rate is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Somewhere between 40 and 50. Not over 50. Not less.
I agree.
Somewhere in that window. And I think that's a fair deal.
Yes.
And then they can incentivize his contracts.
Yes. Yes.
He can get his chicken. Mm-hmm. Then like, okay, if we get to the NFC Championship, you get this bonus. We get to Super Bowl, you get this bonus.
Right.
If you make all pro first team or second team, you get this bonus. You make the Pro Bowl, you get this bonus.
Yep. If you go for so many yards, or you get so many victories during the regular season, so many touchdown passes.
Ratio.
Yeah.
You know, they can incentivize that. He can make extra $5 to $10 million off those incentives.
Yes.
So to be fair, he deserve a new contract? Absolutely.
I agree with that 100%.
Does he deserve to be paid like the best quarterback in the league? Not yet.
No.
But you can mitigate a lot of that cost by adding incentives into his contract that he can make, that I feel like Green Bay can make if they make the right moves in the offseason to put more around him.
Yes.
So he definitely is. I think Green Bay, they've been very judicious about their quarterbacks in the past, going all the way back to Brett Favre. The way they've handled things, that's one thing I've always admired about their franchise, about how they handle their quarterback situation.
Man,
you got Brett Favre sitting there still slinging them, and you draft Aaron Rodgers. And yeah, Brett Favre didn't like it. But Aaron Rodgers sat there for what, 2 years? I believe
3 years.
3 years. And sat there.
I think it was 3.
Sat there with his clipboard. Okay, Brett just threw that. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. Brett. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna put my own wrinkle on it. Then along comes, and Aaron Rodgers gets long in the tooth. They draft Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers didn't like that too much, but this is how the Packers do business, and they get their replacement before they need their replacement.
You know what?
What happened? Jordan Love sits down for a couple of years and he learns from Aaron Rodgers. And now look at you basically plant a seed, you nurture it, you fertilize it, you let it grow, and now you got an oak tree.
I also like they haven't done this in a while, but I used to like what they did with the backup quarterbacks, because they would develop them enough and then trade them off and get draft picks for them. They did that with Matt Hasselbeck. They did that with Mark Brunell.
Now, see, that was back during the Mariucci years when Mariucci was the quarterback's coach.
Yeah, when Mike Holmgren was the head coach.
That was back during that time.
Mike Holmgren, and that's when what's his name, Ron Wolf was the GM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was the hay of Green Bay.
But the formula's there in Green Bay. I admire them for that.
Yes,
how they do that, because there's so many franchises that will draft a quarterback, go, and you better win. Oh, he a bust. Like that. They'll do that to a young guy, and they did it the right way. This guy's a project. He's rough around the edges, but he's got all of the physical tools that we need. We just need to cultivate him. Okay, we're gonna draft him. We know Aaron Rodgers still got 3, 4, 5 more years left, but we're gonna get this guy. We're gonna bring him in. Okay. And Aaron, if you mad about it, okay, well, we hate to see you go. Bye. Come on, Jordan. We think you're ready now. And everybody's like, what are they doing? We all were like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Evidently, they know what they're doing.
Yes.
They know what they're doing in Wisconsin. Because, I have nothing but respect for how they do business out there.
Definitely.
But let me go to the other sideline in that divisional matchup.
There we go.
Okay. I watched the San Francisco 49ers. Well, first of all, I watched Brock Purdy do something that all his haters and naysayers said he could not do. Well, we need to see this from Brock Purdy before we can call him a great quarterback. We need to see, well, what do you need to see? We need to see him in adverse conditions. It's raining. We need to see him without all his weapons. Deebo Samuel left the game in first quarter. We need to see him come from behind. They were behind in the fourth quarter. The adverse conditions, go back to that. He started off horribly. He can't throw wet footballs. I'm just gonna call it like I see. He was off target as hell because he wet football. Okay. He checks all these boxes. He comes from behind and sets up a game when it goes 7 for 8 on that last drive. And guess what? That one incompletion, you know what that was?
What?
George Kittle dropping an uncharacteristic pass. He hit George Kittle in the damn chest with the ball. George Kittle was looking to run upfield before he dropped the ball. So basically,
I hate that.
He could have gone 8 for 8 on that drive. Okay, no Deebo Samuel. Threw a dart to Brandon Ayuk on third down. Threw an even better out pattern to Chris Conley, who was just elevated from the practice squad to play. You know, it's like, oh, it wasn't Deebo Samuel. And he scrambles on 2nd and 9 to set up the game-winning touchdown. I'm through with all the Brock Purdy hate because we live in a world right now where someone like Josh Allen gets praised for losing a game and Brock Purdy gets vitriol for winning one.
You know what? Can I say something real quick about that?
Yeah.
I think people love Josh Allen because he can do all those unscripted throws and just throw the football 95 yards down the field. It looks so shiny.
It's a boy. He 240 something.
Yeah. It's a bright shiny new Ferrari. That's all it is. That's what it is.
And Brock Purdy over here looking like Tiny Tim from the Christmas Carol.
See,
this is everyone. That's what he looking like,
and that's what he looks like. But see, and I know I'm hard on Josh Allen and stuff like that, and I'm gonna continue to be hard on Josh Allen. I'd rather have Brock Purdy over Josh Allen. And like I said, I get the whole thing that Josh Allen can create. That's fine.
But that's the thing, though. Not to cut you off, but that's the thing. If you go back and put on the tape, and Richard Sherman talks about this all the time, is he put on the tape. Brock Purdy makes so many unscripted, unscheduled throws. All this season, he's done that. He's not just a system quarterback. That's a lie. That's a fallacy. That's a false narrative.
Well, I wasn't even going to call him a system quarterback. I'd rather have.
I know you weren't.
No, but what I was going to say was, I need Brock Purdy can do what Josh Allen can do, and that is keep my offense going in rhythm. I need somebody to complete these quick passing game. It's called quick passing. It keeps your quarterback in rhythm. Now, of course, when plays break down and you need to do something off script, fine. But I need rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Because offensive coordinators, you have your offense coordinators, then you have somebody on offense sometimes up in the booth, and they communicate what they see on the football field. And that's how they get a rhythm going. Of course, stuff happens off because that's always going to happen. But Purdy's going to keep my offense going. I'm not saying he's a system quarterback, but stuff needs to just go in rhythm. Brock Purdy can do that. Josh Allen, in my opinion, cannot.
Hell, man,
at least not as well.
Josh Allen, and let me finish my spiel on San Francisco, but Josh Allen can't even do that on script, off schedule. That's the thing. Like, we talk about, Brock Purdy is able to make the plays on schedule, and then when things break down, he can make plays off schedule, but nobody talks about that.
Right.
He's in Kyle Shanahan's system, and that's why he's great. Okay, but what quarterback isn't a system quarterback? I can count them probably on one hand in the history of this league there wasn't a system quarterback. Okay, so it's not a lot of them. Then you talk about, he has weapons. He's got all of these guys. Hey, man, Kurt Warner was an undrafted free agent on the greatest show on turf, put up all these huge numbers. He had Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Keem,
Ricky Prohl.
Ricky Prohl. But nobody just says that about Kurt Warner. They don't say that about Kurt Warner. So it's like it's just this unmitigated, just relentless hate for Brock Purdy. People's backs should be hurting from picking up and moving the goalpost so much on Brock Purdy. And it's like, stop it. Okay. And it's well, he had a bad game. He played like trash for 3 quarters. Okay, I'm gonna counter with this. Watch this, Brandon. I'm pretty sure you remember this. Was the greatest quarterback to ever play for the San Francisco 49ers?
Montana.
Joe Montana. What's one of the greatest one plays that we always talk about?
The catch.
The catch. 1982 NFC Championship. Everybody talks about that play. Talk about how great, how masterful he was on that drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Montana did them first 3 quarters?
You mentioned in the chat, and
he threw 3 picks.
When you mentioned it, I did not even know that.
He threw 3 picks in that same game. In that same game. Joe Montana is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He was the GOAT until Brady won all them Super Bowls after the fact. But he was the GOAT up until Tom Brady came along. But everybody forgets that. They forget that Joe Montana threw 3 interceptions in that game before he led that game-winning drive that basically started the 49ers dynasty.
You know who else threw a lot of interceptions in his career as a quarterback, and he's in the Hall of Fame?
Brett Favre.
You just took the name right out of my mouth.
Brett Favre. He led the league in interceptions, career interceptions for a while.
Yeah, career interceptions.
But so I'm gonna segue into that, talking about Joe Montana had great coaching, and this is where I'm about to go in right here. Green Bay Packers went into this game this past weekend touting the 28th worst run defense in the NFL. I'm going to say that again. 28th, Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has the best running back in the NFL. It's raining. You know your quarterback got small hands. You know he doesn't throw wet footballs well. What does he decide to do? Throw the ball 39 times. He opened up the game with empty sets with Brock Purdy in the shotgun. But you playing the 28th worst run defense in the league and got the best running back in the league, and you're not giving him touches. That's a no-brainer. This is why I constantly have just disdain. I have a love-hate relationship with Kyle Shanahan for being that stupid. Because I've said it before. He's the kind of kid, if he's in class, the teacher can put up this big trigonometry problem on the board. Kyle can look at the board, no pencil, no paper, no calculator, and say, ma'am, the answer is 7, and be right. But if I say, Kyle, you got 3 apples, I'm going to give you 2. How many you got? His answer is table.
5.
No, his answer is table, lamp, gummy bears. Like the no-brainer decisions Kyle Shanahan screws up. You are playing one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. You have the best running back in the league who averaged 6 yards a carry that game finally, when they finally got him going. So that should tell you that right there. And you won't run the ball. You should start the game running the ball. They would have never been in the situation where Brock Purdy had to come back and win that game if you come downhill on Green Bay.
And the thing is, you only gave the man 17 carries. The rest of the carries, 1 carry went to Jawan Jennings, and then
that was after Debo went out.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. That was after Debo went out. Yep.
And then Brock Purdy had like 6 carries, and I'm like, dang. Eric tells me that there are other running backs on this roster. Besides, I'm nothing against Christian McCaffrey, but Eric tells me there's other running backs on this roster. So even
Elijah Mitchell, J.P. Mason.
So even if you only give Christian McCaffrey 17 carries, what happened to the other guys? Get them carries. If they 28, if they
the game plan would have the game plan would have been simple.
It-
It's
it-
raining
it-
outside, we at home, they can't stop the run. All three of my backs getting burned that whole night. We coming downhill on their ass all night
my
long.
running backs and this system that's created for my running backs.
Thank you.
And the thing is, I know. When it comes to Kyle Shanahan, we always talk outside zone. Yes, that's the foundation of it. But he has added run stuff to like counter if you try to shut down the outside zone. So, and it's still successful. He has found ways to say, okay, if you're gonna take this outside zone away, I'm gonna run this.
One couldn't go.
And you're in trouble.
I'm gonna do you one better. And I'm gonna get off this topic because we need to move on to the other two games. But right before the half, you're in a playoff game. You know you play better with your team in front. He got ultra conservative right before the half. It's 3 minutes left in the half. You get the ball back after the half because you kicked off. As a matter of fact, earlier this week, he talked about I like to kick off because we can lap the other team. We can score right before the half, and then we can get the ball back and then score again and maybe go up 2, maybe 3 scores. Which is sound doctrine. That's sound doctrine. But riddle me this, Batman. Why did you not try to score a touchdown right before the half? Because, again, we're not having this conversation about it being a close game. Because they had momentum at that point. They could have scored it right before the half, got the ball back, scored again. This game is over before it gets to the fourth quarter. Okay. Then after you get stopped, you put it on the shoulders of your suspect ass kicker. Jake Moody is suspect as hell. And what happens? The kick gets blocked. I'm gonna just let you know right now, the kick wouldn't have made it even if the hand hadn't gone up. But you put yourself in situations you don't need to put yourself in, Kyle Shanahan, and that's the problem. And that's the only reason that gives me pause about this NFC Championship is Kyle Shanahan's decision making in big games. And we've talked about this for the longest. We've talked about this for the longest. He does stuff that just does not make sense. And I'm not the only person. There's been plenty of analysts all through ESPN, Fox Sports have talked about this. Like, dude, why would you do that? Why would you put your quarterback out there knowing he has small hands and he has a hard time gripping the ball and throwing it accurately in the rain? You know that. Now, Brock Purdy overcame at the end. Even with them wet balls, he was still out there. Pause. Even with those wet footballs, he was still out there. That when the rubber met the road, you had to have it. He gave it to you. So for Brock Purdy haters, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to keep moving. That's going to be you with a back problem. That's going to be you with a back problem because you keep moving picking up the goalpost and moving. And every time he checks the box, well, no. So let's move on to the other games because we need to talk about what the games coming up this week. So which one you want to go to next?
So the 49ers will be playing the Detroit Lions this weekend, because the Detroit Lions defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-23.
Yes. Let me tell you something. And I don't need to tell you because guess what? Me and you were the only ones that was talking about the Detroit Lions.
Oh, yeah. Since 2021.
Before this season. And then going there like, hey, man, y'all watching this? Brandon, Eric, y'all don't know what hey, man, are y'all watching Detroit? Since Dan Campbell was hired. We were like, hey, man, these guys, hey. Oh, man, ain't nobody thinking about Detroit. Me and you, Brandon, we the only one. Hey, man.
Only ones.
You're not paying attention to these guys. You're literally watching, like, you're watching a small fire in the forest. Then the next thing you know, it becomes a blazing inferno, and now you gotta call the National Guard and everything else. The National Guard is here now. Like they are tough. Now, granted, if there was ever a tomato can that was in the playoffs, it's the Buccaneers. The Eagles first, but then the Buccaneers.
Right.
But the fact that They went into that game with it on their mind. And we can talk about the whole Baker Mayfield cycle because Baker did it. Remember we talked about that?
He did it.
I said he gonna do just enough to get a contract, but he gonna crap the bed when he counts. And what did he do? 2 picks. 2 picks in that game. But Detroit Lions, man, that offense, Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, that running game is phenomenal. Amon-Ra St. Brown's an all-pro, and rightfully so.
Sun God.
Yeah. For those of y'all don't know, Amon-Ra is the Egyptian god of the sun.
Yes.
And he's better than his older brother, Equanimous.
Oh, way better than his brother.
Equanimous, I don't even know what roster he on anymore. But Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Chicago was the last team I knew he was on.
Yeah, but Amon-Ra St. Brown's an all-pro. He is amazing. The complementary receivers play really well. And then Sam Laporta, when healthy, might be the next George Kittle.
Sam Laporta definitely played some great football this year as a tight end, drafted in, I think, round 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this team embodies like the toughness and the grit of the city of Detroit. Like I could just see, I think somebody did a meme or a video or something from 8 Mile, and they put Jared Goff's face on Eminem. It's like, now everybody from the 313, put your hands up and follow me. And it's like, I can see the whole stadium doing that, literally. Because
the whole city. Forget the whole stadium.
Yeah,
the whole city.
Absolutely.
Of Detroit. Hey, listen. I think in the 2020 offseason, before the season started, there was a new principal owner for the Detroit Lions, and I forgot what her name is now. Okay,
it slips my mind. I know you're talking about it.
But she became new principal owner, and she couldn't do much with the roster because she took over, I think, over the summer, like August, and went into the offseason of 2021, hired a new GM and Brad Holmes, and then hired head coach Dan Campbell. And after that, the rest was history.
Sheila Ford Hamp.
Okay, Sheila Ford what?
Hamp.
Okay, Sheila Ford Hamp. And so she's the principal owner. I think she took over, like I said, I think she took over 2020 off season right before the season started. So she ain't had time to do what she did in 2021, was get a new GM and head coach. And they just built that roster. And it's a blue collar roster on a blue collar franchise in a blue collar city. Mm-hmm. Detroit Lions, the way they are built like Detroit. They are built for tough.
Yeah.
Hey, man, they built for tough. They built for tough.
Yeah.
Ford Field, they built for tough. So yeah, man, that Detroit Lions team, it's gonna be something. And I don't know how much longer Jared Goff is gonna be there. He may be there for the rest of his career.
I think he will. I think he can do no wrong. You just brought 2 playoff wins to a city that was in a playoff drought for God knows how many years, over 30 years.
No, and I get it. I think I think the one fear I still have of Jared Goff is when I go back to that Super Bowl when he was with the Rams and lost to New England, when he froze on those 2 passes and got picked off. Because you could tell he froze. And then he decided to throw the football, and it's like, dude, it's too late.
And we're going to come back to that.
Because if you stop the run, and put it all in his hands, I just feel like you can stop him. And I think he'll get re-exposed.
Stop the run, have some fun.
Hey, that's my line, dude. That is my line. Hey, listen.
I think all of us who've been around football have heard a coach somewhere that say, stop the run, have some fun.
Man, listen. Listen, wherever I go, I'm gonna take that with me.
Yeah. So yeah, but they made short work as we predicted, because I think all four of us picked Detroit to win that game against Tampa Bay. We didn't give Tampa Bay a shot. No. What got me is those Tampa Bay's defense, and we'll get more into it later as we preview these other games. But Tampa Bay's defense Detroit's defense let Tampa Bay back into that game, which really, had that defense been a little bit better, should have been a blowout. Detroit should have blown out Tampa.
Listen,
just like San Fran should have blown out Green Bay.
I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin clearly carried Baker Mayfield,
Oh, absolutely.
just like Mike Evans used to carry Johnny Manziel in college.
Absolutely.
I know Manziel won the Heisman. I feel like Mike Evans carried him. That's my personal opinion, but Mike Evans won't be there anymore because I think he's a free agent and he's gonna go somewhere. Whoever Tampa Bay, and then we're gonna move on to the next game. Whoever Tampa Bay bring in that wide receiver is going to have to carry Baker Mayfield. If not, Baker Mayfield is going to be fully exposed.
Tick, 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 tick.
I was not expecting this to happen. The Kansas City Chiefs went to Buffalo and won 27-24. The one thing that stood out to me was the Kansas City receivers did a little bit better than they have all season.
Except for Mecole Hardman, who basically...
Well, I ain't worried about Mecole Hardman.
He crapped the bed and almost gave that game away.
They were catching passes, and I was like, well, wait a minute. Where were you this whole season catching passes?
Yeah.
Where were you?
But you know what disgusted me the most about that game?
Josh Allen?
No, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. That was the worst part of that game. It was actually pretty good. Jason Kelce out there, going off for his brother, no shirt on, drunk as hell. That's what football's about. Not Taylor Swift and her mayonnaise-infused version of the swag surf. Okay? But yes, Pacheco was a beast.
Sorry.
But the thing is that Buffalo had an opportunity to win this game, and this goes back to not being clutch. The last possession that Buffalo had is 2nd and 9. Stephon Diggs is on a crossing route at about 7 yards. He's left his corner. They were playing man. He with a too high safety, and he's coming underneath. The corner is a yard behind him. If Josh Allen makes the right read and throws that pass, Stephon Diggs easily, at worst, gets the first down. At best, is still running until the safeties come up and maybe tackle him and run him out of bounds. So I'm like, we all watched it. We were talking about it as we were watching it on Marco Polo. And the very next play, Shakir, the young receiver, who I think has a very promising future.
Sure does.
He's on a crosser. What does Josh Allen do? Both those passes, he chunks them to the end zone where there's a safety and a cornerback there. He makes the wrong read, trying to make a tight window throw instead of taking what the defense gives you. Had he done that, they win this game. They probably score a touchdown. Screw going for the field goal with the kicker. I know people give him a lot of hate, but that kicker shouldn't even have to have gone out there if Josh Allen was the quarterback that everybody claims that he is and makes the right read. Stop trying to play hero ball and take what the defense gives you. And I hate to keep going back to Brock Purdy. But that's what Brock Purdy does in a situation like that.
Look, stop taking stuff out of my mouth, man.
We just think alike, dog. That's what I'm saying. Because Brock Purdy, in a situation like that, if you got Deebo Samuel on a short crosser, anybody, use check Kittle on a short crosser, and it's 2nd and 9, and he's on a short crosser in man coverage, and there's the defender is behind him. Defender's behind him. He makes that little pitch, boom. They call him a check down artist, but sometimes it's good to check down. That right there is a microcosm of why sometimes it's good to check down. Because if you got the players, and Josh Allen does, if you got the players to make the play, hey man, throw that 7-yard pass and let him get them extra 2 yards, maybe more because of his running ability. But we don't like check down artists. All of that. But Josh Allen lost the game because he wasn't a check down artist.
You know what? I don't think a 7-yard pass is a check down. Okay,
it's really not.
It really isn't at the end of the day.
You know how people are. They want to see people. They want to see rainbow passes and.
Okay, look, hold on. And this is why I said goes back to quick game and keeping stuff in rhythm. First of all, check down is when a running back is running a route into the flats. Okay, That's a check down. And you've gone through your progression from like high to low. Okay. That's a check down because they took everything away deep and they said the only thing we get, so you got to check it down. Okay. That becomes down to your final read. Okay. And that's why I said I don't like Josh Allen because he always missed that kind of stuff. He refuses to do the simple stuff.
We hear.
Okay.
We hear.
He refuses to do the simple stuff.
Let me tell you something. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and Clarence Carter.
He always wants to play hero ball. Okay.
Thank you.
There's a time and a place to be Superman, and there's a time and a place for the rest of your team to be Superman or Supermen. Okay. There's a time and place, and you got to figure that out. And really, the head coach / or OC should be trying to help the quarterback figure that out as well as the game goes along. And it goes back to I need to keep my offense in rhythm. I need to keep the pace going. I have an offensive coordinator on the field or up in the booth, or if my offensive coordinator is on the field, I need to have at least 1 or 2 people up in the booth telling me what's going on.
Hey man, they right here. You're on the service pro. Hey man, he coming across right. What you doing? Why you doing? Right. What we saw in film was we saw this defensive tackle lining up as a 2 wide. Now he's lining up as a 3. We notice this difference. Hey, this linebacker is lining up in a 10, but on film he was lining up as a 0. You gotta get those little nuances of the game. Okay, you got to get those little nuances of the game, and they are not. Absolutely. But Josh Allen doesn't keep you in rhythm, so it's hard. I'll be a frustrated offensive coordinator. And Joe Brady. Hey, look, Joe Brady is good in my opinion. Okay, Joe Brady. Let me tell you something. Since you talked about Joe Brady, we're gonna move on. But they wouldn't be in the playoffs if it wasn't for Joe Brady.
Thank you. Say it again.
Joe Brady balanced that offense because it was all about Josh Allen slinging it all the way down the field or taking off running. Then Joe Brady takes over and says, hey, man, we got running backs. Y'all know that, right? What? We got running backs. What you saying, Joe? I'm saying let's run the ball some more. Because if we run the ball some more, then that makes the passing more effective.
And not only was he running the ball more, he was putting 6 offensive linemen on the field to run the ball.
Into cooking to the game. We're going to run down people's thoke. That's it. With the K, Doke. And it was working. And again, they really had the most legitimate shot of winning that game. If it not for Josh Allen and him trying to play hero ball. I want to make a highlight reel. How about getting the first down, Josh? How about just matriculating the ball at the field? You had more than enough time. Yeah, you're right, Titus. Josh Allen gonna get somebody.
Actually, he kind of did because he got Ken Dorsey.
Fired.
Dorsey gone. So
part of that's Ken Dorsey's fault too for not running the ball.
That is true now.
Yeah,
but
part of that's his fault. Yeah.
Moving forward, and I got 2 things. Moving forward, one, somebody's gonna have to really fix this coming off season as they prepare for this coming upcoming season. Because if not, as well as Sean McDermott has been doing, and I know it's hard to fire a head coach that's been performing well, but at some point you got to get over the hump. At some point, you have got to get over the hump, and Sean McDermott will get fired. I don't care what he's been doing in Buffalo. If you can't get over that hump, you will get fired. Okay.
No.
And they've been through the defensive coordinator already, and Leslie Frazier. Sean McDermott took over that defense, and now you got rid of Ken Dorsey, and now you're rolling with Joe Brady. At some point, go ahead.
So, I hear what you're saying. But Sean McDermott, at this point, if they bring him up for review in front of the owners and the GM and all that stuff like that, well, Sean, I don't know if we can go ahead and can you give us a reason why we should retain you as our head coach? He gonna look them square in the eye. He said, I'm gonna give you 2 reasons: Nick Sirianni and Mike McCarthy.
But you know what? That's this year.
And then walk out the room.
That's why I know it's not gonna happen this year.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen this year.
And that's my point. My point is he has to fix it this offseason as he prepares for the regular season.
He's got to
at some point he's got to get over that hump because
he's got to reel Josh Allen in and make Josh Allen make the smart
2025 if we're not over this hump, or 2026 we're not over this hump,
Oh, hot seat, definitely.
I think he could be gone by 2026 at the least.
I think
If it doesn't get over this hump, you got to get over the hump at some point. You got to.
It's gotta be, and they proven that they can beat Kansas City because they beat Kansas City in the regular season. But and again, they really had control for most of this game. They had some lucky bounces, true enough, but they were playing well enough to get Kansas City. They left the door. I'm gonna leave the door open. They left the door open for Kansas City. And it wasn't even about what Pat Mahomes was doing. It was just the fact that the Kansas City's defense is fantastic. But Kansas City defense got caught slipping, but they didn't take advantage of it. That's like if we boxing and I drop my left hand a little bit, you need to be coming with that right cross. And he missed the right cross. He over here throwing left hooks. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I think we all saw it because we all reacted the same way on both those plays. And it was like, bro, what you doing? Bro, did y'all see that? Because remember, we all came on mark at the same time. We overloaded the doggone network. Bro, did you see him miss Stephon Diggs on that crosser? Yeah. And the next play came up. Hey, man, they just missed old boy number 10. Just came. He was open. Why are you throwing that into the end zone? So yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna use a line that a non-traditional football fan that I know said to me a long time ago, and that is the quarterback just can't see.
Man, let me tell you something. Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and Clarence Carter could have seen them receivers.
Well, you know what? They can see, but Josh Allen can't see.
Helen Keller could see and hit them wide receivers running across. Oh my God. It was that bad. But let's go on to the next game. We're talking about did we get them all?
We covered all four divisional games. So now let's cover these two championship games. And let's start off with let's just since we finished with AFC, let's start off with AFC.
Okay.
So the Kansas City Chiefs will be traveling to Baltimore right off the BW Parkway. The Baltimore Ravens. Now, I'm picking Baltimore to win. Okay. Honestly, I want Baltimore to win it all, and the reason why, and I got a reason why I want Baltimore to win it all, but that's a topic for another day. Okay. And no, it's not anything against San Francisco. It's more so against the NFL. Period. Okay. I don't see Kansas City's receivers doing this again.
Okay. I don't see them having that type of game again. I agree. Go ahead. I agree.
I know Kelsey is a good tight end, but you got to deal with Queen, Smith, and Hamilton.
Who are phenomenal.
Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, and Kyle Hamilton.
They are phenomenal. 2
linebackers and a safety, and they are physical. And when Kelsey tries to catch that football, they're going to hit him.
He going to get folded like fresh laundry. They're going to hit him so hard that Taylor Swift going to feel it up in the booth. I want to put the camera on that.
Now, I know Steve Spagnuolo has a great defense, and I respect the heck out of Steve Spagnuolo. The man has 3 Super Bowl rings. One with the Giants in 2007 when they beat the undefeated Patriots, and these 2 with Kansas City, and 2 with Kansas City. Lamar Jackson, when he drops back, when he has the time in the pocket, he creates extra time by moving around the pocket. And I said this way early in the season on this show. The time when he had 10 seconds in the pocket. You cannot keep giving that man more than 4 to 5 seconds in the pocket because one, not only is he going through his progressions and finding the open person or even a play breaking down, he's still in the pocket and still finding an open person eventually, but that wears down your defense. And I'm afraid that Kansas City defense over time will get worn down. they are going to have to get to Lamar Jackson and either knock that football down when he's throwing it or getting his knees and elbows touching the ground with the football in his hands, or the football can come out and be a fumble. This game is on Kansas City's receivers and tight ends to catch the ball, regardless of how many times they get hit. And it's on their defense to get Lamar Jackson on the turf or get that football out of his hands before he completes something.
So with that, I'm just going to say this. I don't care what happens on the AFC side right now as a fan. As a football purist, I do care. And Lamar Jackson, if you get a chance to watch this, I want you to look at the screen. Look at me right now. Only you at this point can stop a Taylor Swift Super Bowl. We're counting on you, Lamar Jackson. We're counting on you. Everybody who is sick and tired of seeing her bent butter knife looking self up there. Everybody who's tired of looking, I don't care if there ain't no Swifties watching this show, so I don't care. But everybody who's tired of seeing her wet roll of paper towels looking self up there every time Kelsey gets targeted. We just saying, Lamar Jackson is on you. The entire nation is counting on you.
Sound like Smokey the Bear. Only you could prevent.
Only you can prevent a Taylor Swift Super Bowl. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Because if I was a high profile football player, they wouldn't put my girl, keep showing my girl up in the, as cute as she is. They ain't gonna be showing my girl.
I hear you, man.
So I'm sick of it. But you know, we want our football pure. We don't want pop stars in our football. That's all I'm saying. You know, I don't have nothing against her as a musician, as a songwriter. I think what she does in her genre is great. She's the best at what she does in her particular genre.
Yep.
But I don't want that in my football.
Thank you.
I'd be okay if they showed her one time and say Taylor Swift's here and they don't show her no more. I'm good with that if the NFL did that. But no, every single time Kansas, at first it started with just Kelsey, but now every time Kansas City get a damn first down, they got to show her. And I'm like, I'm sick of it. They're doing too much. But back to football, real football. So you got two of probably the best defenses in the AFC.
Yeah, definitely.
Dare I say the league, you know, that are playing against the Baltimore Ravens are 1, Kansas City's 2 in defense. That's crazy. Points allowed. So you got the top 2 defenses. Then you got 2 of the most dynamic quarterbacks in Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson playing each other. Like, this is probably going to be the highest rated game of the weekend. And I think they're I'm looking at this to quite possibly, it could go either way. It could either be a very low scoring defensive game because both defenses are playing so great.
Yes.
Or it could be a doggone track meet.
It could be.
It could be. And I'm just excited to watch it. But with my picks, it's a unanimous pick that Baltimore will beat Kansas City in Baltimore and send Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce to Cancun. I think it'll be a close one. And I'm joking around, but Lamar Jackson is really on you because there's still skepticism about Lamar Jackson's performances in the playoffs. And this is where he gets to exercise those demons.
Yep.
He gets to exercise those demons right there. You know, we know what Pat Mahomes has done in the past, but Lamar, it's on you to exercise those playoff demons because, like, okay, you did already cross one hurdle because you were 1-3 in the playoffs, Lamar. Now you're 2-3. Can we get to 500 by the end of this weekend? Mm-hmm. I think my answer is yes.
I think so too.
Let's go to the next game.
San Francisco continues not to travel as they would stay in Santa Clara and they will be visited by the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions will be ringing the doorbell. The San Francisco 49ers will let them in. They will both be on the football field, and that is going to be a physical game. I have San Francisco winning. If I had to choose what game would the margin of victory will be the largest, I think this would be the one. So let's say, like, I would say maybe San Francisco by 5 or more, whereas I got Baltimore by 4 or less.
The line is 6.5. So yeah.
Okay.
And the
So
line for KC Baltimore is 3.5.
see,
Baltimore.
so and that's see, I didn't even know that. So I'm glad you told me.
Mhm.
So it's going to be interesting to see this game. I know Detroit's going to do their best. They can stop the run, but the secondary is weak. I just said it earlier. I said about maybe 10 minutes ago. Jared Goff. My fear of him is if you shut down his ground game and put the ball square in his hands, and he start throwing the ball over and over. And when I say over and over, I mean like 35, 40 times, and you keep going. Yeah, it can get pretty bad. It can get pretty bad, and this could be the game where it gets bad. If this really could be it.
Okay. So I'm gonna start off by saying I have the utmost respect for the Detroit Lions and what they've done this season. But realistically speaking, the only team that can beat San Francisco this Sunday is San Francisco. And there are 3 factors, and I brought them up last week. That horrible rookie kicker. Okay. Injuries. They could lose somebody in the game. Now, Deebo Samuel's 50-50 to come back. His x-rays were negative, and it's looking like he's leaning toward playing in this game.
Yeah, they're saying that they can find out a whole lot more tomorrow.
Right. And then the last one is what almost cost them the game in the divisional round is Kyle Shanahan's decision making. And like you said, Brandon, the Detroit Lions are at the bottom of the league in pass defense. They are 27th, 28th, something like that in pass defense.
Okay.
They are not very good. They're 6th from the bottom. Yeah, they're not good. But they have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So that's the issue right there. Do I still think Christian McCaffrey should get a healthy load? Absolutely. But let's not overlook the obvious. Their secondary is a sieve. They're porous. Kyle Shanahan calls up the right plays, and Brock Purdy basically. By the way, the weather is supposed to be 50 degrees and clear that night. So Brock Purdy makes the right reads and does what he's supposed to do against a very, very weak secondary. He's done great things against better defenses. So with that being said, it could be anything from a close game where San Francisco maybe wins by 10 to where San Francisco just blows this thing open. It could be any of those things. The X factors are Amon-Ra St. Brown, and if Ambry Thomas has to cover anybody. Ambry Thomas is a dumpster fire. That's who I would go after. If I'm Ben Johnson, I'm going after Ambry Thomas until they figure out how to stop it, because Ambry Thomas is either going to give up a catch or he's going to give you a penalty and give you the yards that you would have got for that catch anyway. So those are the things that are in question. That being said, I think the 49ers got caught slipping last week. And if they go out and play their best game, I don't see San Francisco playing their best game and losing this game. Put it like that. San Francisco versus Baltimore in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which kind of segues into my last segment before we sign off for tonight. Because everybody sees the caption, and I talked about it on TikTok. It says, exploring the hypocrisy of NFL fandom. You got some people who are conspiracy theorists, and I had to use the air quotes like Dr. Evil, that, the NFL is scripted, it's rigged. I've been hearing this all week and just going on. The problem with that is it's coming from people who are fans of teams that got kicked out the playoffs or never made the playoffs. I find it awfully peculiar that all of a sudden the NFL is scripted because your team's not in it. because it does not fit your narrative. These are the same people, and I'm not going to call any names, but I have friends on Facebook, oh yeah, we about to do this, that, and the third, and they win games. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna stop us, and and yeah, and we going to Super Bowl because because we got this and that and other, and this receiver got this many yards, and this quarterback throwing for the least amount of interceptions, and fly Eagles. Oops, I didn't mean to say that. I'm calling our fan bases fly Eagles fly, and we them boys, and Bills Mafia, and all this other stuff like that. That's what we hearing. That's what we heard all of that throughout the season. Now the NFL wasn't scripted then. It wasn't scripted then.
Matter of fact, all season, all off season, because like I told you earlier,
all off season.
I ain't hear nobody in February.
But when March, your team got to pack their bags and make vacation plans, and all of a sudden the NFL scripted.
June, July, August. I ain't hear nobody say the NFL was scripted.
But as soon as you're not playing in the playoffs no more, as soon as you out of the running, the NFL scripted. Look at the logo. It's purple and red. That means Baltimore gonna play San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Could it be? Could it just be that maybe San Francisco and Baltimore are the two best teams in those conferences, and not that it's scripted? Now, and it's just a coincidence that they're using those colors for the Super Bowl logo. Like, come on, man. Like, so all I'm saying is quit being a hypocrite, because if your team was in this place right now as these four teams that we just got through talking about, you wouldn't be hollering about the NFL scripted. You filthy, blathering hypocrites. I'm calling you out. You're a hypocrite. And I can't stand fans who are hypocrites. It's okay to ride hard for your team. It's okay for you to be like, yeah, my team this is my team that. But once you get booted or once you get exposed, go ahead and own it. That's realistic fandom. And that's unfortunately, fan is short for fanatic. And some of y'all are just fanatics to where the point where you're delusional, you're not real about things, and you don't have any facts to support your argument. You just throw stuff out into the stratosphere and hope that somebody's going to listen to you. No facts to support it. No real tangible proof. Just, hey, I'm gonna just say this, and hopefully somebody will listen to me. Just remember, on Just a Fan podcast, when we say stuff, we can pull it up. Hey, this is why we saying this. You see these stats right here? You see these numbers right here? This dictates this. Brandon is the Rain Man of NFL stats. He'll come up with something off the top of his head and it'd be right. You look it up. Dang, he's right. How did he know that? Y'all know I'm facts over feelings. So I close with this. It's okay to ride for your team. Just don't be a hypocrite. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. If a team done beat your team, the brakes off them to where they bus couldn't even stop back at their stadium, and that team loses later in the playoffs, don't be up there celebrating. You couldn't beat them. Don't be that person. You couldn't beat that team. You celebrating because some other team that beat the team that you couldn't beat. Stop it. So again, we're exposing the hypocrisy of NFL fandom and it's facts over feelings. But we're just fans and you're just fans, and we want to talk about football for real. Thank you.
All right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you have just watched another week of another episode of Just a Fan Podcast. We are live on 5 platforms: IG, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay. We got echo. Okay. Anyway, you can follow us on Facebook. Facebook, IG, Twitter, and TikTok. 4 platforms. You can listen to us on 3 platforms: Google, Apple, and Spotify podcasts. Coach Williams, Draft Mode. There's a bug in the rug.
Get that blanket. Yo, don't screw this up, Shanahan.
Snug as a bug in a rug. That direction. Wrong hand.
Don't Pando screw this up, Shanahan.
Pando 316. The defensive mind that runs the show. We will see y'all next week with Championship game results. Peace.
I really mean it. I'm coming to your house and fighting you, Shanahan.